Well, on accident reflections today, I'm going to have a look at an NTSB recorded accident of an EC135. Just a reminder that you can see that there will be accompanying articles as well if you want to know a little bit more. Right, here we've got the EC135. This is what the machine looks like. What a beaut. All right, beautiful machine. Accident history, and there's a little bit that we should just paint in. There were 5 people on board, 3 in front, 2 in the rear. In the front, you would get the boss, and on his lap was his daughter, and then in the right seat was the actual pilot. All right, so the boss, they say he was quite a tough guy. 5-year-old daughter into the cockpit on the front seat. Right, so they've done that a lot of times, and she's sitting there on the lap. The boss itself, he is a fixed-wing pilot, and he's used to flying and stuff like that, and he's been grabbing and doing some serious maneuvers in the helicopter before, not always with good results. The eyewitnesses in this case saw, and first well heard, how there was a serious noise and a clapping noise at the top there, sea pieces coming off, helicopter spinning into the accident. All right, that is then the crash site. As you can see, not much to see there. They started at 2,000 feet, and that was devastating. The accident sequence itself is that the yellow blade, as you know the blades are color-coded, severed the tail-rotor drive shaft. We'll get to the reasons just now. Oh, well, right now, due to the sudden lowering of the CP. Now remember, this is the sudden lowering of the CP, or the collective pitch, that was unexpected. Followed immediately by a reaction of pulling that collective pitch up to where it belongs, nearly to the top, and then just fully aft on the cyclic control. Now for the fixed wing guys, cyclic is the up and down, left and right, and the collective pitch is the one on the left hand. So this they figured out in the simulator. But I need to point this out to you, and that is that the flapping hinge design is for up to -9 degrees. In other words, at -9 degrees, they hit the stops there. The blades can go further, but then it must be flapping momentum. Now the blades are turning fast, and to be able to flap like that, there must be a very harsh maneuver taking place. All right, so what was the argument? Well, the NTSB said the pilot most probably didn't do that, make that input, and I would believe that neither would the boss if he was flying. Now, they determined by the biometrical studies, by putting the girl in the size and the shape and everything, could the collective, where would her feet be in collection, and would there be enough space for the cyclic to move, and so, and they found that sitting on his lap, she most probably had a left foot resting on the collective pitch, and she must have stepped down or pushed down on that leg, and unexpectedly, whoever was flying, not holding the collective just went poof down. So all of a sudden, well, this is what they have found, and this is what they believe happened. For us, what is interesting now, or noteworthy, is to see that the flapping angle is now -14. That means from -9 in design to there's 5 degrees extra flapping, and that was caused by a very harsh maneuver back on the cyclic, and probably immediately, very closely followed by a return of the collective. Remember that if the collective goes down, the helicopter starts sinking, the nose of the helicopter will dip, very natural reaction. Whoever's flying the cyclic will come back, and then the collective. And both of those back now, a devastating combination. All right, Mr. Boss, just a few things about him, because we just want to say that the bosses, and sometimes they are the critical factor. Now, he's flown helicopters in very critical stages before, because he just took control. He is the boss. And he had two related, and they call it incidents, but if you look at the damages that was caused in the previous incidents, here in our world, part of the world, we call it accidents. All right. But he got away with that anyway. Not sure who flew the helicopter this time of the accident. From the point of view that there was a force that immediately slapped the collective pitch down, unexpected by whoever was, it doesn't really matter. That was the beginning. The reactive parts, well, I think anybody would have probably reacted like that. But the thing that the NTSB say, and I just want to make this sure that we say that the pilot couldn't keep cockpit discipline. That is very worrisome, and that obviously will come back to the boss. A couple of comments from me. The first one is, this is obviously not the first time. Let me get that one. It's not the first time, and complacency sets in. Now, let's look about complacency. What is complacency? Complacency is a word that we use when people get overly relaxed in the face or in the vicinity of danger. Okay? So we get used to it. And it's not necessarily bad, but it can be bad. Sometimes it's good that you don't, get frightened out of your skin every time, but in this case it was a bad thing, because they overstepped all the rules and regulations that you can, and they got to get away with it. So every time you get away with it and you don't get hurt or die, you use that as a measurement to say, oh, no, that went well. I'm going to do it again. And then you do it again. And you get away with it again. And all of a sudden, you use death or injury as your reference. But when you get hurt, it's too late. And when it's death, well, without saying anything, you cannot use death as a reference. The pilot probably relaxed on the CP, and I just want instructors to make sure that you don't relax too much when you were students there. The dump of the CP was unexpected, and the CP up and down by the pilot. And this is where the flare came in. And that's why I said, probably as everything went down, this and this happened, probably in that sequence. But these two actions together forced the flapping of the blades more than -9 degrees and devastation. Every time a coconut. That's the first thing that we must remember. Recommendations. The first one, I just want to say here, follow the SOP, maintain cockpit discipline. And how do you deal with an overbearing boss? I don't know. I actually really do not know. But I know you've got to be assertive to a certain, but then there's always points that you must pay attention. All right? Sometimes we let other people fly, but we cover all the time. We cannot get relaxed when we are busy doing things that we shouldn't do, for starters. I'm not promoting that you shouldn't, that you start doing things that you shouldn't. All right? That's not the point. Okay. Complacency comes due to getting used to getting away with actions during critical or dangerous phases, and that's just a bad habit. Now, Mr. Bossman, let me talk to you. Stop your own it all, know it all attitude. It really kills. Okay. Your possessions and your ego is no match for the natural sciences and for mechanics. Okay? Don't have to fight about that. I'm sorry to blow the bubble, but those are the realities for all man, for all men, and for all mankind, if you wish. All right, now pilots, listen to this thing. And I know this is difficult, but your office is a sacred space, and I'm talking about the cockpit now, eh? So you must guard against all times uninformed, the incapable, and there's always somebody with a bucket list. And they are chasing this. They are definitely egomaniacs. Be careful of them. All right. What is the remedy? And I just want to speak to the boss and probably to ourselves as well. The first thing that I say here is have a look in the mirror. That's what that picture is about. Do self-reflection. Do introspection. Boss, then you must recognize where you're out of line and out of sync. You cannot be so stupid not to see that you're not in line. And you are measuring your greatness by getting away with your life every time. Really? So, once you've recognized it, just stop the nonsense. That was it. See you guys in the next round.